and bumpy air.
Good morning. Good idea.
Yeah, please.
Good morning.
Saving
You
this.
can throw it away. I have plenty.
Do we need one more picture of Ollie on there?
I'll find it. I can make it happen.
Remind me, we'll switch it back after. We'll be having icicles over here. Later, it'll be so cold. You're already ringing? Right. Give me just 1 second before you.
Yes. Ready?
All right, guys, we're ready.
All right, here we go.
Welcome to Today in Yuma. I'm Jennifer Blackwell.
And I'm Teresa Straub.
Thank you for joining us on this slightly muggy Tuesday morning. Is it Tuesday?
It's Tuesday and
Yes.
it's very muggy. None of this slightly anything.
Thank you for joining us on Z93 and Outlaw Country. We do have a lot going on here this morning with a studio full of guests. So we're going to join those guests right away. But let me give you a quick rundown of what we have coming up today. We have Yuma County Supervisor Lynne Pancrazi. We have Yuma City Council member Gary Knight, and we also have David Padilla. He is the president of United Yuma Firefighters. And then coming in, we have Parks and Rec Tuesday after this with Cassandra Contreras and Marilyn Lammell with the city of Yuma. And then we have Herlinda Hassell, who will be joining us from Yuma Sunrise Rotary.
All right.
All right, we do have several people that are tuning in via our Sunset Health Facebook live feed right now. And please feel free to drop any comments, thoughts, questions, concerns. We do ask that you keep it nice because we like to keep things civil here.
That's right.
You can post those in the comments, and if you're not able to listen to or watch the entire show right now, once we wrap up at 10, you can go back to my page.
Yep.
It is open to the public, and you can watch it in its entirety. And if you do have questions there, still post them because our guests will be able to follow along, and we can follow up with anything later.
That's right.
All right, again, joining us this morning, we have Lynne Pancrazi and David Padilla and Gary Knight in the studio with us. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, David and Lynne, we're going to just kind of slide that mic
Right in between you there.
Oh,
There you
you
go.
can share right there.
Lynn can do most of the talking.
Lynn's like, I'll take it.
Yes, I've been.
Lynne had reached out initially last week because we've seen a lot of discussion throughout social media, primarily in the community, about the possibility of an existing company adding on hazardous waste to the services that they provide here in the Yuma area. So let's talk about
And
that.
initially, the reason I reached out to you is I wanted the public to realize that there was going to be a public meeting on this Thursday, but they have since canceled the meeting. But we still wanted to be on your show and to make sure that the public knew that this was coming up. It's going to be at our August, it's going to be on the agenda for the County Board of Supervisors August 7th meeting. And they're asking for a special use permit because the area that they're looking at is light industrial. It's off of Pacific across from the mall.
It's right by Yuma Palms.
Yes, it's right by Yuma Palms. It would be Sam's Club, the empty lot, and across the street is Otts, and behind Otts on that, in that off of Pacific is where it's located. Yeah.
There's been a special Facebook group that was created in reference to this, and
I think John on the Sunset Health Facebook live feed has shared that group right there.
Okay, thank you,
So people
John.
can look at that too.
I
There's
think
also a petition going around.
that
I
they shared the
understand.
petition too, and I know the
Example.
numbers more than doubled yesterday, and they're hoping for that to continue. But one person took the map and they indicated based on feet how far it was from the dance studio where they do kids dance lessons, also the mall, the proximity to agriculture. It's smack dab right next to agriculture, and just a stone's throw from the Colorado River.
Yes.
So there are a lot of concerns that have come up as a result of that. Now, again, the public meeting Thursday has been canceled.
Correct.
But we have these awesome guests on today, and then coming up on Friday's show, we have the owner of, how do you pronounce it? Is it Sid Call?
I think so. AA said call.
AA Sid Call. We have the owner coming on, Charles Templer, and then we also have Barry Olson, who is his attorney. They will be joining us on the show at 9:15 on Friday.
Awesome.
Well-
It's the location is Engler Avenue and 13th Street. It's on the northwest corner. So if you need to find it, if you want to go look at it, because they're currently operating there as a non-hazardous waste transfer station. But that's the actual location, and it's close to residents. It's close to, there's an ag field right next to it.
Well, and the pack where we bring in people.
There's a BOR dewatering well within 60 feet. Commercial businesses all the way from
All the way. And,
business all the way to the mall.
and homes.
And homes, residential.
See, I taught at Roosevelt for
Many
a good
years,
part of
yeah.
my career.
Yeah.
And the number of children that we drew from came from there. There are at least a minimum of 3 little trailer parks in that area, plus 5201 East Highway 95, which is Sierra Pacific, which is also a family park. So, and then you go up the hill and you have a subdivision that the Hall brothers put in right up there up the hill, and they're all that would be impacted. Plus the pack and that whole area and the heritage area, the East Wetlands. So those are all highly populated areas.
That's the question. Why, why right there? Again, you mentioned light industrial, but they would likely be trucking in the hazardous materials from California.
Well, I want David to talk about some of the issues that concern the fire department.
Yes, let's do that. And again, that area is served by Rural Metro.
It is, yeah. So a couple of quick disclaimers here. So I am the president of the United Yuma Firefighters. Want to make it very clear, I'm not representing the city of Yuma or the Yuma Fire Department or Rural Metro Fire Department for that matter. But we do represent firefighters in Yuma, San Luis, and Somerton. And so, yeah, there's a couple of big questions with, mixed load hazmat transfer sites like this one. And so these types of facilities will, truck in certain types of chemicals in different quantities and different concentrations, and then repackage them to ship them, to other locations to process them or whatever. Our big concern is when you have mixed load hazmat facilities like this, you never specifically know exactly what you're dealing with, right? And so in hazmat response, specifically for hazardous materials response for fire departments, knowledge is everything, right? Is understanding what chemicals we're dealing with and what concentrations we're dealing with them in, what the quantities are. So when we encounter facilities like this, it's just a big question mark. It's a big unknown. Today it could be this chemical, tomorrow it could be a completely different chemical. And so we have other companies in Yuma that operate, or the greater Yuma area that operate different chemicals, from our ag community to other processing plants. This one specifically is so concerning because it's so close to our population centers, right? And like you guys have already mentioned, the pack. So what we did was we took some specific chemicals and some of the ones that are listed on AA Sidcall's sheet, and we did some plume plotting. So we look at, if this chemical was released in this quantity that Sidcall says that they could potentially have, what does that actually look like? How big of, or how much of our community would be actually impacted on some of these? And so some of these chemicals, you're looking at like a 2.9 mile radius plume, and it depends on which way so for context, you weren't kidding with this mic.
I told you it likes to float.
So for context, you're looking at, from Sidcall's facility, they're potentially extending to the airport, on the south end, to Z's Fun Factory on the east, almost to Avenue B on the west side, and then almost to San Pasquale, on the north end.
Wow.
And that's just one chemical, right? There's a long list of potential chemicals, and again, in a number of different concentrations, which changes everything for hazardous materials response, right? Different concentrations play havoc on our response. And then also in quantities, right? So we could have multiple containers in different quantities. And so,
that means that we shut down the mall.
Oh yeah.
If there's a spill, the mall,
It has to be evacuated.
Evacuated.
Everything.
everything,
All those houses, everything.
the whole mall, and that's devastating.
That's devastating. Yeah.
I mean, is anything designed for like a mass exit?
Right. And you're talking boots on the ground, men and women from the different fire departments, knocking on doors, emptying out different types of facilities, whether it's a Sam's Club or some other, commercial establishment in Yuma. But that's obviously some major worst case scenario stuff. And it doesn't have to necessarily be that big, right? Any small leak can potentially create a bunch of challenges for the community that lives and works in that area.
But and I think one of the biggest concerns too is we're getting quite a few comments on here. Mike is saying, quantities estimated over 100,000 tons on an annual basis. And when you I think the community listening, I don't think they realize the impact. I mean, obviously they're coming along. They're starting to do the research and realizing it. But like you said, if there was a contamination of sorts, you're having to not only basically, clear out the whole mall area and the homes around it, but again, the agriculture there. So the impact that we already know how detrimental it could be to a farmer to have to get rid of all that, destroy all that produce or whatever they are growing right there.
The whole Gila Valley.
Exactly.
The whole Gila Valley.
The whole valley.
Yeah, because
right
the
there.
river, yeah.
Well, not to mention, but we're creating a brownfield. Actually, if this is allowed to happen, when they move, whenever that might be, that property cannot be used again until
A number of years.
until it's completely cleared. It's considered at that point a brownfield, and we've lost it.
And people have probably heard mention in the news over the years about the ADEQ brownfield grants, and that's what it is. Something has to sit there, and they go through this complete process of trying to remediate and cure the land essentially from what it's been exposed to.
And we've already experienced that. The city has. We've already done that with the area that belonged to the railroad, the Union Pacific, south of Main Street, south of downtown. We've gone through the whole process. It's taken years to get that remediated and approved for use again by the public.
Well, one of the big concerns that we've been seeing this shared quite a bit on social media was the fine against the same company in 2011, a $30,000 fine that was levied. And, that's obviously raising some concerns.
Right.
That's something we'll certainly address, with them on Friday when they come in too. But
Can I add something? They're going to bring up the fact that they've been approved by ADEQ and that they have been approved by planning and zoning. But that's all black and white and paper. And when you do black and white and paper and you don't come down to the site and you don't actually look at where it's located and you don't actually see that there is a well that water is pumped into the Colorado to meet our obligations.
Lowers the water
Well,
table.
it lowers the water table in the Gila Valley, but it also helps meet our obligation to Mexico.
Correct.
For the water that we send down there. Those are the kind of things that it doesn't. The black and white on paper it may look just fine, but in reality it doesn't. So that's why we're here.
and again, it will go to the Yuma County Board of Supervisors on
Yes, it will.
August 7th
Yes.
for a vote. And a lot of the comments that we're seeing here, vote no to toxic waste in Yuma. And people just are not in favor of this. What measures are available for those individuals to reach out? Would they speak with our Yuma County Board of Supervisors?
We're all on the website. You can go to the website and you can look up all 5 of the county supervisors and you can email each one of them. They have a phone number for each one of them, and you can call them and you can express your concern. I have one from that I have to call back that I left a message that I haven't been able to get back to yet. I have several emails that I have responded to, and that's how you reach out to each one of us.
John has a question on our Sunset Health Facebook Live feed. He says, why is the waste that is there now not well contained, and they are hazardous waste parked all over? What is it operating as now?
Non-hazardous. It's non-hazardous transfer station. So what's supposed to be there now, and I don't know exactly what's there. I know what's supposed to be there because they're operating as a non-hazardous waste transfer station.
Now,
I turned them into planning and zoning.
did you? Okay.
Yes, and not long ago. I turned them into planning and zoning for them to check out because one of the business owners down there was concerned that he saw crossbones
Yeah.
on some of the.
As it would bring up some questions as well. How did it get past planning and zoning? Was it just the like you said, the black and white on paper? They
It was
dotted their
what?
I's and
At
crossed
first
their
it came into
T's.
certain
6 to 2,
hazards.
wasn't it? 2 voted
Yes.
against it.
Yes, and yes.
That's
And
how they got
one thing
through
we
this.
need to look at is they keep calling this hazardous waste, but it's toxic and hazardous waste. When you look at the chart that they provided, all it has is numbers. But if you delve into the numbers, all of the numbers that start with P are indeed acutely. In the actual numbers, they are acutely hazardous waste. If you look at all the numbers that start with a U, they are toxic waste. They're not, and it has them all listed. It has the names. Half of them I can't even pronounce.
Right.
But they're toxic waste in addition to hazardous waste. So this is not just a hazardous waste transfer station. This is a hazardous and toxic waste.
Yeah.
And they're going to store them.
In our community.
They're going to store them at the site until they can ship them out. So my biggest concern at this point, everybody should be concerned about the location of it because it's just a bad location for this to happen.
I saw a letter where our city council members, again, this is in Yuma County, but our city council members are in opposition of it.
Yes, we all signed in opposition. It went to the planning and zoning. It will now go to the supervisors. All 7, it's unanimous. All 6 of us are opposed to this special use permit. But the main thing, just to give you a few facts, the site will have the capacity to store 228,260 gallons of hazardous waste. Typical wastes include flammable items, oxidizers, materials that undergo rapid chemical reactions. So just think things that go boom, spontaneous combustion, and different flashpoints, and they're located in Yuma's climate. The
heat has been very concerning
Yeah.
for a lot of people, especially one gentleman's been covering it via YouTube, and he's
And
been
what
talking
we're-
about the heat.
That's
The
one of our
other
big
thing we're
concerns.
looking, the other thing I'm concerned about is where that facility wants to locate. They cannot use the city's hazardous waste routes to get to and from it.
Okay.
It'll have to come in on Interstate 8, and they'll probably get off at 3E.
Use county roads.
You use count. Yeah.
And if you go down 3E, you've got agriculture on both sides.
Yeah.
Yep.
You've got
we all know
hotels.
how busy that area is
Well,
too.
that's the big concern, right? Is that it's not just storage. To Gary's point, a truck driving through Yuma, has an accident, and now we've got a chemical spill anywhere in our community potentially,
Beyond
right?
even the mall
Beyond
area.
even the mall area.
That's where it's probably going to happen. That's where you're probably going to get a spill. They'll probably handle it properly once it's on the site, maybe. But getting it to and from, if there is an accident, and their drivers may be safe, but we've got a lot of drivers. We've got
can't
snowbirds. We've
control
got
all those
snowbirds
other
in the
factors.
wintertime. We've got agriculture that use those roads. If there's an accident and there's a spill, it would be catastrophic. It would, if it were on the bridge, it could close the Interstate 8 bridge
Oh, yeah.
Well,
down.
Mike says one incident and Yuma gets a reputation that can ruin tourism and agriculture, and then what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that we've built up forever.
You're talking about them bringing in this hazardous material and toxic material. So for those that are listening that don't know where this material is coming from, where are they bringing it from?
Most of it's coming, as I understand it, most of it's coming from California.
Because it's a cut rate. It's a lot cheaper to have it sent here. There's quite a bit that's already been dumped in La Paz County.
Yep.
Well, obviously California doesn't want it.
No,
And
they
I
don't
was going
want
to say, why are we storing their waste?
Because
They don't
our
have-
regulations are less stringent than California.
Yeah.
They're more lax.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
We are, California has legislated them and restricted themselves out of being able to handle their own. We're also dealing with their septage and their biosolids, and we're dealing with that as well. So, yes, but that's another story.
It's one comment. It's not that it's cheaper here. It's that Arizona's regulations, like Lynn said, are less stringent than California's. And someone else mentioned here that since 2018, a SID call has been cited at least 3 times for poor tires. So that speaks to concerns about safety out on the roadway. Because you and I can be as safe as we think we are in our own vehicles, but there's other mitigating circumstances when we all get on that road.
So I want to just kind of speak to that. So this is the kind of the irony of the whole situation is you could have a company who has one of the greatest track records for safety, and they do everything right. And one day a pump that they purchased from some company has an O-ring go bad, and then the pump starts leaking, and we start spilling tons of chemical, right? So we can't ever completely, plan our way out of anything. And so safety records, even if they were perfect, it still doesn't alleviate the possibility. And so, again, maybe it is a company that could find a better location in Yuma or something. It's specifically that area, driving hazardous materials through Yuma. In addition to that, though, I do want to point all the listeners to go watch the last County Board of Supervisors meeting. We heard from both fire marshals, Yuma's Fire Marshal Kayla and Rural Metro's Corey, who both spoke to their concerns with the specific engineering side of the fire protection systems that exist on that facility, or what they're supposed to be building, both in terms of containment, being able to contain any hazardous material that's spilled, being able to contain the massive amounts of water that would be used if there was a fire there, and then of course the water supply issue, because they're not on city water, because it is in the county. There's very limited water supply. So if to Gary's point about oxidizers and flammables, if there was some event there's a very big question about how you would even be able to get enough water to that incident to deal with it. But yeah, everybody should watch that last Board of Supervisors meetings, because I think both fire marshals did a really good job explaining their concerns.
The community has, I'm getting question after question after question.
They're moving fast.
Another question is, have they considered the cancer rates from the exposure of chemicals?
We have.
That's
I can
exactly.
tell you we have, right? In a profession that already has ridiculously high cancer rates, by some estimations, firemen are 60% more likely to see rare forms of cancer. When you start talking hazardous materials, it's a massive concern for us, and so
the carcinogens are huge with these materials.
The big question is, are the citizens of Yuma County, are we really going to have a voice? If they reach out and they speak to our Yuma County Board of Supervisors, they have these individual conversations, send emails before that vote, are we going to be able to keep this from happening in our community?
Well, let me say this. This is the first board group that it's going to the Board of Supervisors. This is the first group that it's gone to that are actually
looking at it,
put into position by voters.
Yes.
The county zoning, planning and zoning, they're appointed, they're not elected. The employees, the staff of Yuma County, as good as they are most all the time, I highly agree with their decision this time to be in favor of this, but
you disagree with it.
I highly disagree with the fact that they are that they said this was okay. But they're not elected to office either. So this is the first body that this has come to, and it will be the last that it's come to, that these Board of Supervisors, these supervisors answer to the voters and the public in Yuma County. So
going back to what one of the comments on the Sunset Health Facebook live feed, and something that Lynn had said, she had already turned them into planning and zoning, because you're seeing visibly there's already signs that there may be hazardous or toxic waste there. In the process of them getting this, applying for this permit, are they able to act and do, and store them there while they're in process of getting this permit? So they should not have anything on their property right now that's hazardous or toxic.
I would have to talk with with Maggie in
Okay.
planning and
I'm
zoning
I'm
before.
curious because you're
I don't
seeing it
know.
on, if
Yeah.
people are seeing it on their site already, I'm wondering, are they able to kind of act as if it's going to happen until it's approved or disapproved or whatever the case may be?
I know they've already hired an engineering firm.
Yeah. Also, just to that point, there's a lot of terms that we use, or that they get used in this field, like hazardous or toxic, corrosive. All these different terms, and there's a very specific guidelines that dictate when something's considered hazardous, and sometimes that's quantity. So there are minimum reporting numbers that exist in the hazmat world. So once you reach X amount of gallons of this particular chemical, it has to be reported. So just because they don't have, a hazardous materials designation or whatever, doesn't mean that there aren't hazardous materials, right? Just like any other business. It's all specific to quantities and everything else. Just like vehicles placarding on sides of trucks, if they're under a specific quantity, they don't require placards for certain things. And that being said, every chemical that exists is hazardous in the right concentration and right quantity. Water can be hazardous to you if you have too much of it. So just because it doesn't have a designation doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't chemicals there that are potentially dangerous or can harm our population. And so we use those terms and we use them kind of loosely, but there are specific guidelines for when they have to be designated hazmat or toxic or whatever. And so just be aware of that, they could be allowed to store something there already that doesn't meet the minimum requirement but is toxic.
I received an email earlier, and they said, is there any federal regulation that would stop the company from locating this close to the Colorado River? Is there anything any of you could speak to in reference to that?
I'm surprised that the Bureau of Reclamation hasn't. They've actually come out against it.
In reference to the wells in the area?
But it hasn't been until all of this came to light that they've found out that it was locating near there. That dewatering well belongs to the Bureau of Reclamation. Right. So the Bureau of Reclamation is not in favor of this either. But what I wonder is, where were they when ADEQ and EPA were issuing the permits?
Right.
They should have been contacted by EPA and ADEQ, and obviously they weren't. In fact, there were a lot of entities that were not
Part of that process.
Contacted that were supposed to be.
Still haven't been contacted.
And you're going to hear, when they speak, I'm sure you're going to hear that they're got a bunch of compromises. One is they're going to add, they're willing to pay to add additional fire hydrants. Well, you stop and think about it. You add a couple more fire hydrants, so what? That you just spray more water. Now
It's just going to sink further into our grounds and spread further.
Now you've got more contaminated water than you did before by hundreds of thousands of gallons. And where is it going to go?
We got a letter, and part of that letter, in that letter were these, I called them gingerbread. They were adding gingerbread things like a wall and different things in the fire hydrants, and doing every 6 months taking people's hazardous waste in, and which the city already does, but I call it gingerbread in an effort to
appease.
To appease people. So
It won't.
And how can the city council and how can the board of supervisors compromise with the lives and well-being of the citizens of the city of Yuma and Yuma County? We can't. This is an issue that's beyond compromising. We just can't compromise the lives and well-being of our citizens for one company to bring this stuff in as close to Yuma, the city, and where in the county they want to put it. It just doesn't work. It's a bad location. I'm not saying that they couldn't locate it somewhere else. They could find a lot better place that's away from everybody and still close to rail and the freeway. But this is a very bad location for what they want to do.
Speaking of rail, look at that community in Illinois. Is it in Illinois where the
spill
the spill happened, and they still can't return to their homes, and there's still very, very, very sick people in the community because of it. And I don't want us to be, we have worked too hard to make our community what it is today, and to develop it into the wonderful community it is, to have something like this happen. Even, I mean, accidents happen. So even if we're, as, like David was saying, even if we're as careful as we can be, having a facility like this with hazardous
It's
waste,
not if, it's when.
it's when.
Yeah.
And by their own specifications, by their own stats, they're saying that there's going to be 113,362 tons in and out of this site annually.
Wow.
On an annual basis, 113,362 tons of hazardous / toxic waste in and out of that plant on an annual basis.
I've been really transparent about how I'm going to vote. I can't speak for my colleagues, but I've been very transparent that I'm voting no. I mean, I have nieces and nephews and that play at the PAC. You know, I have friends, and Sam's Club is packed from the time it's open to the times it closes, and the mall as well. You know, I know there are so many families that live in that area or that will be impacted if there was a spill, as well as small businesses and the agriculture industry. I can't, in good conscience, can even consider voting for this to be located, besides the fact that the possibilities of an accident and a spill on any of our highways would just devastate this community.
Contact your supervisors.
Yes, go to the Yuma County website, contact your supervisors, just say, please vote no.
Right.
I mean, that's all they need. So, and the more the
Show
better.
up at the meeting August the 7th.
Is it open to the community?
Oh yeah,
It's an open
it's a
meeting.
public meeting.
It's at the
Yes.
Board of Supervisors Auditorium?
Yes, it's at the Board of Supervisors Auditorium. Even if you don't speak, just the number of people that are there. And if you can't, you can submit a letter, or on the website we have the ability to submit your letters in. Because of COVID, we started that so that.
And there, like you mentioned, there is a petition going around.
Yes, there is.
There's quite a few ways you can let your opinion be heard, and I encourage the community.
And if you don't even do that, call down to the county supervisor's office or call the county and say, I'm calling to say I want the supervisors to vote no, and my name is. And just give them your name and say, tell them I would like them to vote no. And just keep calling, and the more calls they get, they have to record them, and they'll put it down, and they can say there were 1,250 calls that said they wanted you to vote no.
Use your voices.
That's great.
Yes, use your voice.
Okay,
Use your
that's
voice.
how it's going to happen.
We want to thank all of you so much. I wish we had more time, because there's a lot to cover.
All of the information you guys covered today, all of the statistics, that's open to the public. They can get that themselves.
It's all public record.
All right,
Yeah.
and there, multiple links have been shared on our Sunset Health Facebook Live feed too, if you want to go back and check those out. But we encourage you do the research. A lot of the information is blatantly out there for you to make your own determination. Thank you all so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We are going to take our Village and Pizza Parlor selfie out in the courtyard. We'll be back with Parks and Rec after this. Today in Yuma is brought to you by Quick Refrigeration, where they do remind you you need to change out those filters on a regular basis. And on Fridays, you can get a free filter at Quick Refrigeration at 190 West 10th Street. Just stop by and give them the sizes you need for your filters.
And the Yuma Mesa Shopping Center, your store is located in the heart of Yuma at 16th Street and 4th Avenue. Everything you could possibly need in one stop. They have Kelly Pro Nails, the Del Sol Market, Big Lots, and more, all at the Yuma Mesa Shopping Center.
And Yuma Winelson is a locally owned plumbing supply company located on Pacific Avenue across from Yuma Palms. They're within a national organization, and they're your go-to supplier for plumbing, waterworks, and industrial piping products. They have supplies from over 22 national brands. Stop by weekdays.
Oil changes are key to your car's longevity. Oil removes heat from the engine, lubricates its moving parts, plus it collects dirt and engine deposits. No appointment is needed for an oil change at Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros.
And if you've been thinking of adding on a room, maybe you want to update your bathroom or kitchen, American Eagle of Arizona can help. Just give them a call for details. They can help from the demo to the last coat of paint at 928-726-1617.
And Brewers Restaurant. Brewers is always looking for hard workers with a lot of energy and a passion for the restaurant business. Download the application at brewersportsbar.com.
It is today in Yuma. We'll be back after the break on Z93 and Outlaw Country.
That was good, guys.
Good morning. You can go on and go in the lobby if you want to be in cooler. Yeah, we're on live right now. They're going to bring our guest out. So that in there, are you on the show?
No, I'm going to be here with Hurley. You're going to be with us for the BOWLIO event.
Today on the.
You're going to be on the show or what? That's just here.
Well, if you're interviewing, then go on in there if you were told today.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right. Awesome.
So many, like, nope.
Oh, good. That's
Nopes,
great. Right.
nope.
And that's what's beautiful about Yuma is you see this, community interaction when they come to life on Facebook.
Yeah, because we didn't know.
Yeah. Well, and then they find out a bunch of information, right? They bring out like,
Yeah, it was
what about
kinda-
this thing or what about
Go
this
and
thing?
take a picture over there.
Selfie.
Selfie.
Oh, yeah. You got to make it on the wall.
Over there by
Which way?
All right, here, right next to me. We're going to look that way at her. Right, Gary, right over here.
Right over here?
Yeah.
All right.
Need one more. All right, we ready?
Okay. Can you see us?
Yep. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Awesome.
Okay,
Thank you
good.
guys. Thank you so much.
We got it.
We'll see
Thank
you
you
later.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you guys for doing that. That was
Awesome. Our
Have a
pleasure.
fabulous
Have
day.
a great day. Be safe out there, David. All right, well, come on in, ladies. We're going to kind of fast track through this stuff. And sorry, I'm going to change the air because it's a little okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for waiting, ladies. Yes, John. That's we're at County Island where the station is located also. We have several kind of sprinkled throughout. All right, you ladies ready to go?
I think so. Ready as we'll be.
What's in the next break?
I'll go through it. There's a couple I got.
Okay. And the same with the last one.
That is, oh yeah, we have 2 more.
Awesome.
Yeah, because that was the first.
But it's on, right now, it's 38 right now. These ladies are pros, though. They know the drill.
We got it. All right, here we go.
Okay. Welcome back to Today in Yuma. I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Teresa.
Joining us now for Parks and Recreation Tuesday, we have Cassandra Contreras and Marilyn Lammell with us. Thanks for joining us, ladies.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
You're super busy because the list of things I have for us to talk about, and some we've spoken about before, so we'll go over briefly. But Cassandra, we're going to start by talking about the Infinite Imagination Youth Theater because tickets are on sale now for Matilda Jr. the musical.
They are. We're about a week and a half away from performance. Performance will be Friday, July 21st.
It seems so far off.
Yeah, but it's flying by. Like, we have the kids practicing and like doing their choreo and everything, and then we have a bunch of our staff helping out with the set and helping out with the props and all that stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we're working really hard to get ready. But the performances will be Friday, July 21st and Saturday, July 22nd. Doors will open at 6:30. It starts at 7. You can buy tickets online on our on our website. We should have a link to it if you click on our calendar of events. And then you can also either call or you can also buy them in person. They're $5 per individual. For a child, it's $2.50.
Oh, that's a great price.
Yeah, it really is. But just to give some of you guys out there, if you haven't watched Matilda, so it's about Matilda. It's a little girl. She is kind of going through the anarchy of childhood and the power of imagination. It's a story of a girl who dreams of a better life, and the children she inspires will have audiences rooting for the revolting children who are out to teach the grown-ups a lesson. So
It's fun.
Yeah, our kids are super excited.
Well, we encourage you, again, Cassandra had mentioned checking out the calendar of events. You can go there and see everything that they have going on anyway. There's something to keep you and your kids busy.
Exactly. And these kids have been working hard. I mean, I think I remember you coming in here and talking about, oh, we're calling everybody
Casting
out to say,
it, yeah.
hey, if you're interested in doing this, and now it's like, oh my goodness, the performance is already here. But they've been working hard. I mean, this is a camp that goes on all week long. They're putting in, all day long. They're putting in the time and effort. It's going to be, they always do a great job with all the productions that they do.
No, yeah, we had a really great turnout. We have about 23 students, so we have a lot more this year than last year.
Oh, great.
So it's going really good. I saw them last week, and they gave me chills from how good I thought they were.
We have a lot of talent. Well,
Yeah.
we have Sleeping Beauty coming up too.
Yeah, so that will be on July 15th. The doors open at 5. Tickets are also sold online or in person at the Art Center. They're $20.
And this is presented by Arizona Classical Ballet. We had
Yes.
them on not too long ago talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
And then on July 28th and July 29th, we have Heathers, the musical. It's the teen edition, so that's also coming up. The doors will open at 6:30 for that. And then on July 29th, there's actually 2 shows.
Okay.
There's one at 2 p.m. and one at 7 p.m.
And this is the Summer Teen Theater Camp.
I believe so.
Okay. So, yeah, you have a lot of things going on.
Oh, yeah, we have
A lot of
theater stuff going on.
performances.
Yeah.
Well, Marilyn, we're going to be talking with you about adaptive recreation, Night on the Town.
Night on the Town.
All right. Well,
absolutely.
Let's start. We'll talk about Night on the Town because it kind of does tie in with the whole theater theme.
It does. It's perfect. So, I want to start off with saying, if anyone you have out there who has not been to the Historic Theater, you should go. It's the prettiest building, I think, in all of Yuma. It's so beautiful in the theater. But what our program is we have a program. It's called Circle of Friends Adaptive Recreation, and the program exists for it gives people with special needs a chance to cultivate genuine friendships. That's what the program's purpose is. And what we do is, for this program, Night on the Town is we're going to be eating at Du Bois Pizza. We'll go over there around 5 o'clock. And then after, it's dinner and a show. And so we head over to the theater for Matilda Jr.
Oh,
So
that's great.
it is. And so the price is $15, and it's including chaperones. So usually an adult with special needs will have a family member or a caregiver with them. And so the prices for each person is $15. And then we go over to the show and have soda and popcorn and just have a relaxing, fun
The
evening.
theater experience.
The theater
Now,
experience.
how do people get tickets for that?
They have to go through the Parks and Recreation office.
Okay.
And so they can call into the office and get their tickets, or they can come in person, or they can also go online.
Keeping people busy because you're giving us things to do.
Yes.
And I know you still probably hear it all the time. There's nothing to do in Yuma.
All
Wrong.
the time.
Wrong. Just go to yumaaz.gov, look
Yes.
at the summer activities guide, and you can find so many things there. If you want to be indoors, there's opportunities for that. If you want to do swimming, there's some things to do there. But we have kayaking, the fishing, archery, so many programs.
And I encourage you, you mentioned going to Parks and Rec. You can always go to Parks and Rec online. Check out the activities guide, because we only talk about a little bit of what goes on in Parks and Recreation. There is so many more other things going on at the historic Yuma Theater. I mean, there was a show last Friday when I was down there. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, how did we not hear about this? We have but again, there is a lot to do in Yuma. You just have to look for it, and once you know where to go to find it, you can just go to the Parks and Rec page on the City of Yuma's website, and most of it is listed there.
Beth is asking what the ages are for the Night on the Town.
Ages 14 and up.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm
And-
sorry, 16 and up. Most of our things are 14 and up. This one's 16 and up.
Perfect. Anna, if you are watching, and I know she chimed in because she said, hi, ladies. Beth is asking that you share the links for these programs. So we'll see if we can get those posted here in the comments, just so people can go directly to that.
Okay. Sounds great.
Awesome. Well, again, if you're interested in checking out anything the city of Yuma has going on for parks and recreation, from theater to outdoor activities, you get out in nature, visit yumaaz.gov and I'll just look for the link for the activities guide. That's what I do.
It's right on the. I think it's right
through.
on the homepage, and if it's not, you can literally go to Parks and Rec, and it's right there.
It's easy to find.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us and being so patient today.
Thank you.
We are going to take our Village and Pizza Parlor selfie out in the courtyard. We'll be back with more of Today in Yuma after this. The show was brought to you by Never No Smoke and Vape Lounge, now open at 2760 South 4th Avenue. Stop by today and check out Yuma's newest vape lounge. Maybe enjoy some ice cream, cool off, and enjoy one of their 900 retro games on that modded system. That's Never No Smoke and Vape Lounge.
And the Broken Yoke Cafe. They are open Monday through Friday, 7 to 2, with happy hour from noon to 2. Saturday and Sunday, they're open until 3. If you're headed on over, make sure you download the app. Not only can you join the wait list, but you can also join the awesome rewards program at the Broken Yoke Cafe.
And why choose Yuma Pest and Termite? Well, they have certified and state licensed technicians, over 25 years of experience in the Yuma area. They have a professional and friendly staff. They also do escrow inspections and have multiple service plans available, and their services are warranted.
Get all of Sprague Sports deals straight to your inbox with their Straight Shooter email list. Be the first to know about all of their deals, especially the ones they cannot post on social media. You can sign up at spragues.com/mailing list.
And with Outlaw, enjoy no contracts, great customer service, and real savings. At their core, Outlaw is committed to being exceptional, honest, local, and hassle-free. To find out more, visit outlawfiber.com. We'll be back after the break. Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you.
No one's gonna get you. You don't have to run, chickens.
Gone away a little bit. Yes, we like those chickens though. I don't want to give those away.
No.
I brought them strawberry tops.
Oh,
Is that what you do?
Oh.
1, 2, 3. They're spoiled. I love it.
Oh, now I see it. It's like I wonder what she's doing. I do see them now.
It's like chicken scratch and cat food and strawberry tops also. You're never going to leave.
They're never leaving.
Next time you come
We're
back.
gonna have chicken
Thank
colony
you guys.
here soon.
Okay, bye.
Thank you guys.
And they eat the citrus. They got it good here. I'm like this. Hi, guest. I'll watch you from the next room.
Right? So Mike Suba, he's with Rotary, so he's going to be the primary.
Hey, Mike.
What's
you
your last
doing?
name, Mike?
It's Suba. It rhymes with tuba. So think of tuba,
S-U-B-A.
Cuba,
Perfect.
S-U-B-A. So very simple Romanian name.
Perfect.
Mhm.
It is 11 minutes and 55 seconds.
Okay. We still have another commercial. You want to end with the break?
Just have another
Yeah.
Yeah. With one.
Okay. If we go over a couple minutes, it's fine. I'm gonna take extras out right now.
Okay. Thank you for commenting, Herlinda.
Man, I was when I saw your
Were you
agenda, I
heated?
was like, this is the point to be there.
Yes.
We were in the parking lot. I couldn't even
I mean,
get
they
out.
addressed so many great things too. A lot of them were kind of in tandem with the commercials or the questions that were coming in.
Yeah.
So, and I still have 3 messages I haven't seen now that popped up. I know I have emails and I have some texts too. It's like, whoa. But
They were kind of the same thing, but it just shows.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just
So
shows
they're
volume.
worded a little- yeah.
We're all on the same page. There's a lot of people. I just kind of get over here.
Yes. That was just kind of backdoored in there, like, whoops. Hey. Oh, by the way, now we're going to do this.
That's what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's just. I can't believe
All right, here we go.
The Today in Yuma phone lines are open. Give Jennifer and Teresa a call at 782-4321.
Welcome back to Today in Yuma. I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Teresa.
Joining us now from Yuma Sunrise Rotary, we have Mike Suba and Herlinda. What's your last name, Herlinda?
Herlinda Hassell Wilson.
Okay.
It's hyphen. She likes to read people's names as she sees them on Facebook, so she's just verifying.
I want to get it right. Gwen says, hi, Hurley.
Oh,
Well, we have you here today. We're going to be talking about, well, I guess it's probably safe to say it's an international Rotary event that takes place annually.
Yes, that is a good way to describe it.
This is the BOWLIO event.
Right. It's basically, we call it BOWLIO. It's a number of years ago, I think this was during 2011, one of our favorite Rotarians, Chuck Northwest, wanted to have a fun event for all the local clubs and Rotaries, Rotarians here in the Yuma area. So his big he likes to donate to our Rotary International Foundation, and one of the funds that is near and dear to Chuck's heart was our Polio Plus Fund, which we have been Rotary for since 1983, has been trying to eliminate polio from this world, and we're very, very close. So Chuck thought, hey, I'm going to combine polio and bowling together, and that's where he came up with BOWLIO. So what it is, it's a fun event to get as many Rotarians and anybody else that's interested in joining us together for a fun little fundraiser event at Inca Lanes.
And if it involves any kind of Rotary, it's not just going to be a fun little event.
No,
because
right.
we love our Rotary chapters in the Yuma community because the rivalries are awesome.
Absolutely.
For a phenomenal cause.
Absolutely, and this is what, at the time, Chuck was a member of the Yuma Rotary Club, which is our biggest Rotary Club here in Yuma County, but he wanted a good reason to get everybody together, having a good time, competing. So what better way than to compete and bowl against one another? And he came up with a competition where essentially the club that scored the highest number of pins knocked down, they would be recognized with a trophy that we basically rotate between the winning clubs, and then we'd also recognize the lowest scoring club.
I would appreciate that. I am not good.
me too.
Doesn't mean I don't try.
I love it, but I'm there to support the club.
Yes.
Knowing Chuck too,
Mm-hmm.
I had Chuck in for interviews almost weekly for a couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago, and talk about an amazing personality, just such a genuine person.
Absolutely.
He is
Loved
a
my
great
time with
guy,
him.
and he and Bobby moved to the Indio area, so they're no longer here in Yuma. We're going to try to entice him to come over and visit us. So we're still squeezing him a little bit. So if he is listening, tell him he is still in our forethoughts. So,
Miss you, Chuck.
Yeah, we are definitely missing Chuck.
Well, the event is coming up this weekend?
No, it'll actually be on Saturday, August 12th.
Oh, August 12th.
So we have a little bit, about a month ago, and we're just trying to get people interested in signing up. We do have a BOWLIO website up, and so hopefully if they need information there, I'm going to drop off a bunch of flyers over at Inca Lanes. But a good way contacting is contacting my wonderful friend here, Hurley, or myself, and we will get that information out to you. I sent out a email blast to everybody that participated last year that I had their email messages. So we're going to have a lot of, all the clubs should be represented, and there's going to be very big competition, especially between the San Luis Club and the Yuma Foothills Club.
We love competition.
You know what? That's one thing we love about you guys, because it's all in good taste. I mean, when you guys throw down a competition, it's to benefit the community. No, and they literally do. Like, they call each other out by name. We've had certain Rotarian groups call each other's groups out by name.
There's guilt. There's bragging rights.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what I do it, right? That and to raise money. So. But it's a lot of fun, and we like to get different industries involved. So there's friendly competition between real estate offices, title companies. It's just fun. It's a great event.
Now, you mentioned that they can reach out to either of you. What's the best way to find you guys?
You can. My cell number is great, and I take calls or texting 928-246-2393. let me know that you're interested, and I can get you some of the flyers to sign up your team or do a sponsorship. So.
Or you can call me, Mike Suba, and that's very easy. Like I say, Suba is S-U-B-A. It rhymes with tuba in Cuba. And my number is 928-580-5992.
All right.
And you mentioned sponsorship opportunities. That is definitely there.
Yes, for sure.
Part of what we do is we encourage businesses and clubs to sponsor a lane. And Inca Lanes has been always very good. We have the banners printed up, and so a given team, they'll have a banner over their particular lane. And a lot of times, like I will sponsor a lane and a team, so I'll have my business name above the lane that my four bowlers are bowling on.
Okay.
So it's a lot of fun. You get your name out there, and again, we'll put the rivals there. So a lot of times,
I love that.
I'll
put the rowdy ones together.
That's it. We put the rowdy ones together. So a lot of times, I'll put the Foothills Club right next to the San Luis clubs, and of course, there's talking smack to one another and having a grand old time. But we have a lot of these groups representing various businesses, and they're Rotarians as well. And so they like to have that friendly competition. And a lot of times the teams, especially people like Melissa Short, they'll always dress. So they're going to have a special sort of team-themed dress that they're going to go by. So shout out to Melissa, and we're going to have a team that's already indicated coming out from the airport. Thank you, Jen Gross. And so that's kind of the fun of the event.
They're big supporters, and that's so important.
What's that website again?
The website is basically, it's, let me make sure I get it right here. I think if you just type in BOWLIO, and that's BOWLIO, you should be able to get the website up. Matt Molinar is the one that administrates the site for us, so it'll be there, and we'll just get all the additional information up there, and you'll get to see pictures from past bowling events. So it's kind of a fun site to visit.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Well, we appreciate it, and we look forward to, if you get a chance, join us on Saturday the 12th around noontime, and you'll have a great time.
And get signed up. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us, and to all of our awesome guests today. Remember, if you missed any of the show, you can go back and watch it on the Sunset Health feed on my page. We did also share the link on the station page, too. Up next on Z93, it is the Bob and Sherry Show. Outlaw Country brings you your favorite classic country music. KCYK Yuma and KLJZ Yuma.
Bye, ladies.
Bye, guys.